Welcome back to Birminology on Lettermen Row. I'm Jeremy Birmingham. Today we're talking to Paris Johnson, Ohio State's five-star 2020 offensive tackle commit from Cincinnati St. Xavier High School. 6'7", 315 pounds, or however big you want to say Paris is. He's even bigger than that to the Buckeyes and their hopes for the 2020 recruiting class. Let's talk to Paris and see what he's up to. Thanks for watching Birminology on Lettermen Row. Welcome, Paris Johnson, Ohio State's 2020 offensive tackle commit. You have been committed to Ohio State now since June. Obviously, the last month, 2 months, has been a little bit different. Can you talk, Paris, just a little bit about December and how difficult that was for you, your parents, and how you've handled it? I know you tried to stay kind of low key, but how did you make it so that it didn't overwhelm you?
I feel like it's because I've really been talking with Coach Meyer about that. So I feel like me being able to talk with him and him expressing things to me about, his thoughts and, why it led to that and stuff like that. I feel like that's what helped me understand it.
How much have you talked to him since? I assume he kind of tried to give you a little insight into Ryan Day and why he picked Ryan Day to be the guy to take over for him, correct?
Yes. I feel like since Coach Day took over, I spent a lot of time talking with Coach Meyer, and Coach Meyer basically expressed his feelings of trust for Coach Day and how he feels like that Coach Day is the right type of person to move the program forward.
And for you, though, the last 2 months has been a lot about learning about Ryan Day yourself. What is it that you've gained from the time that you've spent with him and your couple visits to campus since?
I feel like my time spent, I haven't spent as much time with him as I have with Coach Meyer, obviously, but, from what I've learned about him, I learned that, how I learned, talking with the players, I learned how they see him and his coaching style. And a lot of the players do really like him at Ohio State. And with talking with him, just getting to learn more about him and his family. And basically, like what's important for him. And then, how he wants to move forward.
Now, you've decided in the last few months to remain committed to Ohio State, but to still take visits elsewhere. I know that doesn't always make sense to fans who are obviously diehard Buckeye fans, and they only see things in shades of scarlet and gray. But in your words, can you try to explain to them why it's important for you to do it this way and what you're gaining from it?
Well, really for me, it's like with me taking visits, about me just checking out and just seeing what's going on at other programs, because for me, that's what I did with Ohio State. When I first took my initial visit to Ohio State, I fell in love with it. But then after talking with my mom, we decided it's best to continue taking our visits. And I still enjoyed each Ohio State visit. But, with each school we went to, whether it's in the South or in the West Coast or in the Midwest, it was about comparing Coach Meyer to these other coaches. And I feel like now, in a way, it took all those visits for me to be set with Ohio State. So I feel like right now it's just taking a peek at a couple other programs just to, compare to what I see with the differences and the things that Coach Day is going to do at Ohio State versus what a lot of other programs are doing right now. So it's just evaluating.
Is there a way, and I know that this may be surprising to some, again, to fans who don't necessarily understand the ins and outs of recruiting and everything that goes into it, but isn't there a chance that taking these visits elsewhere now could actually help Ohio State and help you realize, hey, it's the bigger picture of Ohio State that I fell in love with, or is that not accurate?
Can you repeat that question for me?
Going on these visits now, do you find yourself realizing maybe a little bit, hey, this is why I still like Ohio State? Or, is there a way that these visits help the Buckeyes?
Well, I feel like I experienced some of that through my first go-around. When I initially committed, when Coach Meyer was running Ohio State. So because I feel like I would be at a program and I'd be like, you know what? Me hearing these words or seeing this or learning this about a school under this certain head coach, it made me like Ohio State even more.
Is there any of that happening still, or is it now just kind of a totally refreshed perspective?
I feel like this is a fresh perspective.
Okay.
I feel like, and again, that's because I'm still starting to get to know Coach Day. And, but I definitely feel like I definitely felt a lot of that during my first go around, is that, people at, school, they'd be all Paris, you go to Ohio State, and then like they would just guess that, right? Mm-hmm. And I would kind of smile. I couldn't hold it back versus, because it was just like there were certain things when I visited programs, Ohio State always just clicked in the back of my mind. So right now, it's just about reevaluating that.
Do you think that there's going to be a moment that comes along in the next few months where you say, "Hey, I'm locking everything down. I'm not taking visits anymore. I'm 100%," or is this going to be a thing where you say, "Hey, I'm doing this my way, and I'm just going to let it ride until signing day"?
Well, really, I don't even know the answer to that. I feel like right now I'm just letting it flow, because initially I didn't plan to commit until, the high school All-American Bowl games.
Right.
But I just felt led to commit originally, when I did. So right now I'm just going by what I feel led by and talking with my family.
Now you're still kind of helping and working the recruiting trail for Ohio State. Obviously, it's your recruiting class, and you still want the best guys in the country around you. Have you noticed any sort of change from recruits around the country while you're visiting other schools, or are you still the mayor in Columbus and doing all the business that you need to do to get kids around the nation comfortable with Ohio State?
I would definitely still say that I'm seen as still like the mayor of Columbus. Two other recruits now. I know to a lot of fans, everything that they see me, and now they've moved on. They're like, oh, this person's it. This person's it. To me, I have no control about what
right.
they think. But two other recruits, when I hang out with them, when I was in San Antonio, even though I was taking a whole lot of, and even though I took some visits before I went down there, they were still talking to me Paris, you run Columbus or something like that. Dwight down in Texas, he was telling me, he comes up to Ohio State, he wants to make sure that I'm there with him, or whenever somebody's coming, they want me to come up there too. So I definitely am still seen as that to other recruits.
I mean, for you've been to Ohio State, 30 times in the last year. I mean, every weekend. I think you were at every home game last year, if I remember.
Except for one, except for the first game.
So I mean, it was obvious that you really like being there. Are there any guys around the state that you feel like, I need this guy to play with me if I'm at Ohio State or anywhere else? I guess I know you and Darian Henry are pretty close.
Yes, I would definitely say that me, Darian Henry, and Jaheim are really close. So I feel like for the longest time, since this recruiting started to happen, we thought it would be cool that, if it's the right fit, that we definitely all go play college football together. I think that would be cool. I know Cincinnati has a lot of talent. We have Juton, Jacob James, McQuan Grace. So it's and that's just a couple. Carrington Valentine. So so there's a lot of people in Cincinnati that if they have that opportunity, and we all feel the same way about a certain place, then I think it would be great for us to play together.
Between you and Darian and any other recruits, who's the best Fortnite player in the 2020 class?
So just in Ohio?
Anywhere. Who's the guy that you're afraid to play Fortnite against?
Jack Miller. 1,000%. Jack Miller by far is the best Fortnite player I've ever played with. Yes.
What makes him so challenging?
Because he can build and he doesn't miss shots. I can shoot, but I can't really build. I'll build a 1x1 and then just run.
I don't even know what a 1x1 is, Paris.
Yeah, throw a boom box on the ground and leave. He's fighting and building mansions and stuff. He's crazy.
What's the food when you go to Columbus that you have to get every single time?
I eat a lot. So really Chipotle. Well, I'm just basic. So I really just eat a whole lot of Chipotle when I'm up there. I really haven't had just like that Columbus food yet. I'm still trying to find, like, the only place that I've been to where people have told me to go to is Buckeye Donuts. So I have been there.
You haven't been to Thurman's yet?
I'm not. Is that the a pizza place?
No, it's the burger joint.
I've not been there, but I have been to a pizza place that's very well known in Columbus, but I forget the name of it. It was good.
Excellent. What is it about you that you've learned the most in this recruiting process? What has this process showed you about yourself? And then I'll let you get out of here.
I feel like this process has showed about me that, like, if I reach a certain point or get new opportunities, that I don't really tend to change the way I act around certain people, because that's something that I've been told a lot, is that, a lot of people, they're a 4-star, 5-star, and they get all these offers, then they start to change who they really are. But I felt like, I feel like in reality, me just being myself, I feel like that really hasn't really changed. So, and I think that's one of the cool things with Ohio State recruiting class, that a lot of the people in this class, they're all the same. Like Luke Whiteboy, still the same person. Jack Miller, still the same. Jacob James, same person he's been his entire life, and that's just, so I feel like that's one thing I learned. I just learned about myself.
Appreciate that, Paris. Well, hey, I appreciate you taking some time and sitting in with Lettermen Row, and good luck in the next few months. I'm sure I'll see you in Columbus this spring at some point for the probably the spring game.
Yes, sir.
Thanks, Paris.